Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a sound so profound, really, so utterly unsettling, it describes an entire day.
Hmm.
Not just any day, right? But the day. A day when everything you thought was solid, well, it just becomes weightless, and things you thought were insignificant, they gain this unimaginable density.
Yeah,
Today, we're taking a deep dive into Surah Al-Qaryah.
indeed. And the surah, I mean, the very name, Al-Qaryah, it signifies the rattler or maybe the knocker. It gives us this chilling yet incredibly vivid picture of the Day of Judgment.
Right.
We'll be drawing on insights from, various esteemed Islamic scholars, Nouman Ali Khan among them, looking at their analyses of these really profound verses.
Our goal today really is to give you a kind of shortcut, not just to what the surah describes, but why. Why the words, the imagery are so powerful, how it connects to the other parts of the Quran, and, what it all means for you. Prepare for some, I think, surprising facts and maybe some real aha moments along the way.
Sounds good.
So let's start right there with that powerful opening, Al-Qaryah. What exactly does that single word hit you with as a listener?
Well, what's fascinating here is the linguistic depth, the Arabic root, qara. It describes two things hitting each other.
Hitting each other. Okay.
Yes, and producing a loud, but more than loud, a disturbing sound. Not just noise, but something that perturbs you, maybe annoys you, or even scares you.
So it's not just a simple knock. It's a knock that completely shatters your peace, like the sound of a car crash, maybe, or I read one scholar mention like a slave being beaten, that kind of disturbing impact sound.
Exactly, that kind of jarring sound. Or the image that often comes up.
Yeah.
That hard knock on your door, middle of the night,
Yeah.
unexpected, peace-shattering.
Shocking.
That's the one. And Allah uses this very word, this feeling, to describe the Day of Judgment. It's this sudden, unexpected visitor,
Yeah.
coming as a shock, waking everyone up from this sort of spiritual sleep we're in.
And then it immediately hits you again. Al-Qaryah, mal al-Qaryah, wa ma atraka ma al-Qaryah. That repetition, it feels urgent. It's rhetorical.
It is. And you have to ask, why repeat it like that?
Yeah, what's the effect?
Well, first, it kind of throws this ambiguity out there, Al-Qaryah. Then it intensifies the question, what is Al-Qaryah? And finally, that third part, wama al-Qaryah. It basically says, and what could possibly make you grasp what Al-Qaryah is?
Meaning, you can't. Not really.
Not unless Allah reveals it. It signals that this is something truly beyond our normal human comprehension. Its magnitude is just immense.
Okay, now here's where it got really interesting for me. This idea of linguistic valorization. Can you unpack that a bit?
Yes, that's a great point. It's how the Quran sometimes takes a relatively ordinary Arabic word.
Yeah.
Think of Salah, maybe, or Hajj.
Prayer and pilgrimage, words people use before Islam.
Exactly. But through revelation, through constant use in the Quran, these words get imbued with this incredibly profound, specific, divinely sort of earned meaning.
Right.
They become technical terms of the faith.
So Al-Qaryah goes from just meaning a loud knock or a calamity.
To meaning the calamity, the
Wow.
ultimate, unparalleled, specific event described by Allah. It's been valorized.
Wow. Okay.
And if you look at traditional interpretations, they often emphasize, hearts rattling with fear or enemies rattling from the coming punishment. That 3-time repetition just hammers home how grand, how heavy, how absolutely terrifying this event is.
And this rattling, what does it actually physically involve? What's colliding?
Well, imagine just
Everything.
everything colliding with everything else. The scholars mention the sun striking the moon, the oceans being rattled, the earth itself, the grades opening, the stars falling.
Well,
Everything in motion, striking against each other. It's portrayed as a day of just monumental cosmic clash.
which leads to another connection, right? Within the Quran itself, this idea of stages marked by a trumpet or a horn.
Yes, precisely. The Day of Judgment isn't usually depicted as one single instant, but unfolds in stages, often linked to trumpet blasts.
There's one that causes terror, one for death.
Right, a first blow, nafka al-faza, causing terror. A second, nafka al-say, causing everyone to die. And then a third, nafka al-bath, for resurrection.
So where does Al-Qaryah fit in that sequence?
Most commentators seem to agree that Al-Qaryah refers specifically to that third blow.
Ah, the resurrection one.
Yes, the one that leads directly into the judgment itself when people are coming out of their graves. It fits logically with what the surah describes next.
Okay, so the stage is set. This grand, rattling event has happened. What does the surah then show us? What will that day actually look like? It paints two incredible pictures, starting with, well, with us. Humanity.
It does. The verse describes it very vividly. The day people will be like scattered moths. Yawma yakunu nasu kalfarashil mabtooth.
Scattered moths, you can just picture it, can't you?
Yeah.
Countless,
Yeah.
chaotic, darting everywhere, no direction, maybe even running into each other.
Exactly. And the word used for people here is nas, which signifies, a large collective group. It fits perfectly with this image of widespread chaos, shock. And moths. Think about moths. They're generally seen as weak, not very intelligent, fatally attracted to light or fire.
Oh, right. They fly right into it.
Precisely. So the imagery maybe foreshadows people rushing towards or being helplessly drawn towards the fire of hell. It's quite chilling.
And there's that paradox, too, isn't there? It'll be the biggest gathering of humans ever assembled.
Ever.
Yet the feeling will be one of complete isolation, utterly alone, individualized in that chaos.
Absolutely. Which then leads us straight into the second really striking image in the surah.
The mountains. And mountains will be like carded wool.
وَتَكُنُ الْجِبَالُ كَالْإِنِ الْمَنْفُوشِ.
Mountains, the very symbols of permanence, solidity, weight, reduced to something as light, as wispy as a carded wool. It's hard to even imagine.
It is. And the specific words are important. Akin can refer to wool of different colors and textures. And manfush, that means like a teased out, scraped into fine, almost weightless fibers. The kind that just float away in the breeze.
So picture mountains, maybe different colored mountains, smashing together, getting scraped down.
Until they're just this multicolored dust floating in the air.
Yeah.
They lose all their solidity. They become like clouds, effectively. And then eventually, other verses tell us they're completely scattered. The earth is flattened, stretched out.
What's the deeper meaning there? Why carded wool specifically? Is there more to it?
Well, it's a good question. Why that specific image? One subtle point, some scholars note, is a linguistic echo. Remember Al-Qaria, the striking?
Yeah.
The process of carding wool, preparing it, often involved beating it with sticks.
So there's a link back to the striking or beating sound in action.
Possibly, yes. A subtle resonance. But more broadly, if you think about it, why focus on humans and mountains?
Maybe because they represent power. Like the greatest powers we perceive on Earth, human civilization and the immovable mountains.
Exactly. They represent the two biggest things, the most solid things on Earth from our perspective. And on that day, the Quran is telling us both will completely lose their perceived strength, their weight, their solidity. Everything gets overturned.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've seen the cosmic upheaval, the state of humanity, the state of the mountains. Then the focus shifts, doesn't it? It becomes very personal.
It does. It moves from these grand manifestations to our individual reckoning. The surah turns to the scales of justice, mawazin.
As for the one whose scales are heavy, fa amaman saklat mawazino.
And notice the contrast again. It's quite striking.
How so?
On a day when mountains, the heaviest things we know, become utterly weightless,
Right, like wool.
your deeds suddenly gain immense weight. Or they don't. It's this incredible reversal of what we normally value or perceive as heavy or light.
Now, the scales. I think the common picture many of us have is that classic two-sided scale, good deeds on one side, bad on the other, balancing out. Is that what the Quran actually describes here?
That's the image we often think of, yes.
Yeah.
But interestingly, the Quranic verses here and in other places seem to imply something slightly different.
Different how?
It seems to focus on the weight of the good deeds themselves. The scale becomes heavy because of the good deeds. Bad deeds, in this picture, seem to essentially have no weight. They're described elsewhere as like scattered dust, worthless.
So it's not a balancing act, but more like, do your good deeds have enough substance, enough weight to tip the scale down?
That seems to be the implication, yes. The focus is on the positive weight accumulated.
Okay, so what is being weighed then, if it's not just actions tallied up?
That's a crucial question. Scholars explain it's not just the actions alone. Sometimes the persons themselves are spoken of as being weighed.
People. Weighed. How does that work? Not physically, surely.
No, not physically. Spiritually, morally. Think about that narration, where the Prophet, peace be upon him, mentions someone physically quite slight, maybe Abdullah ibn Masud, whose leg in the scale would weigh more than Mount Uhud.
Wow. More than a mountain.
While another person, perhaps physically large and imposing, might weigh less than the wing of a mosquito in a lost sight.
So it's about spiritual density, not physical bulk.
Okay.
What else gives deeds that weight?
Two absolutely critical factors: intention and sincerity. Ikhlas. And following the guidance of the messenger.
So just doing the action isn't enough.
Not necessarily. The purity of why you did it for Allah alone and whether you did it according to the prophetic way, that's what can make even a small deed incredibly weighty. And the opposite is true too.
This makes me think of that really powerful, almost scary hadith about the bankrupt person, Muflis.
Yes, a very sobering narration. Someone comes on the day of judgment, and they have deeds piled up like mountains, prayers, charity, fasting.
Looks great on paper, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then come the people they wronged in this life. Someone they slandered, someone they stole from, someone they hit, someone they oppressed.
Uh-oh.
And their good deeds, those mountains, start getting transferred, given away to compensate the victims
Until
the good deeds run out. And if there are still people with claims against them, then the sins of those victims are taken and piled onto the oppressor.
Oh, wow. So they end up with other sins, too.
Yes. And then they're cast into the fire. That's the definition of truly bankrupt on that day. It's a stark reminder about justice, about how we treat others.
Absolutely sobering. Okay, so after the weighing, after the scales have tipped one way or the other, the surah then makes it very clear, two distinct outcomes.
Very clear. For those whose scales were heavy.
فَهُوَ فِي إِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ. He will be in a pleasing life.
And that phrase, isha radia, it's not just that the person is pleased. The grammar suggests the life itself is pleasing. Meaning a life of complete contentment. No worries, no dissatisfaction, no boredom, no complaints. Every single aspect of it brings joy and satisfaction. It is pleasure itself.
A truly pleasing existence.
Yeah.
Okay, but then the alternative. For those whose scales are light. وَأَمَّا مَنْ كَفَتَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ.
Then, فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ. Then his mother is Hawiya.
That phrase. His mother is Hawiya. It's so chilling. What does that mean? Why mother?
It's incredibly profound imagery. Hawiya itself refers to a deep abyss, a chasm, often interpreted as a level or place in hellfire. It implies this sense of falling, plummeting down endlessly.
Okay, the falling I get, but mother.
Well, commentators suggest a couple of terrifying layers here. Firstly, think about a child and its mother. There's an instinctual pull, an irresistible draw.
Right, a child runs to its mother for refuge.
So one meaning is that this person will be irresistibly drawn towards Hawiya, towards the fire. They won't be able to resist it, even if they wanted to. It becomes their ultimate destination, their source, in a terrifying way.
That's one interpretation. You said a couple.
The second insight relates to the idea of an embrace, of refuge. A mother holds her child, embraces them, protects them.
Cool. But how does that apply here? It sounds awful.
It is. In this context, Hellfire Hawiya will embrace this person. It will hold them, confine them, trap them, like a fetus in a womb, an embrace they can never escape from.
Wow, that's a horrifying image. Trapped in the embrace of the abyss.
It conveys utter inescapability, total confinement.
And then the Surah asks, almost anticipating our question, and what will make you know what that is? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا هِيَ. And the answer comes immediately.
Narun Hamiyah, a scorching fire.
Not just any fire, Hamia. What does that convey?
It means intensely hot, blazing, raging. You know, the Prophet, peace be upon him, described the fire of hell as being 70 times hotter than the fire we know on earth.
70 times.
Our fire is considered cool in comparison. So Narun Hamiyah signifies an intensity of heat beyond our imagination.
Okay, so if we step back and look at the whole Surah Al-Qari'ah, it really flows, doesn't it? There's an incredible coherence to it.
Absolutely. Think about it. It starts with the terror, the shock of Al-Qari'ah, the rattler.
Right.
And it concludes with an even greater, more permanent terror, Hawiya, the abyss.
The beginning and the end points of the terror.
Exactly. And notice the structure, too. It opens with a question, what is Al-Qari'ah? And gives an answer through the imagery.
Moths, mountains.
And it closes with the question, what is Hawiya? And gives a direct answer. A scorching fire. It brings that whole rhetorical journey full circle.
So the entire surah, in a way, is the detailed answer to that very first question.
Precisely. What is Al-Qari'ah? It's the day people are like scattered moths, mountains are like carded wool, deeds are weighed, and the outcomes are either a pleasing life or the inescapable embrace of Hawiya. That is Al-Qari'ah.
So bringing it all together then, what does this mean for you, for the person listening right now? What's the takeaway?
Well, the surah lays out this incredibly clear, logical progression. You have the sudden universal shock, then the chaotic state of creation, humanity and the earth, then the meticulous individual accounting on the scales, and finally these two starkly different ultimate destinations.
Yeah.
The message seems unavoidable, really. It's urgent. Since this rattling reality, Al-Qari'ah, is definitely coming. And since the destination for those unprepared, those whose scales are light, is Hawiya, then what you do now matters. Profoundly. Every action, every intention, even, as the Quran says elsewhere, an atom's weight of good or an atom's weight of evil.
Hmm?
It will be seen, it has consequences, it contributes to that final weight on the scale.
It all comes down to that weight. Wow. Okay, reflecting on all of this, what's something that really stands out to you from this deep dive into Surah Al-Qariya?
Hmm, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe consider this thought, something to reflect on. If, as we've talked about, the true weight of our deeds on that day isn't just about quantity,
Hmm.
it's not just how many prayers or how much charity, but it's fundamentally tied to our sincerity and whether we followed the right guidance.
Yeah, the ikhlas and the adherence.
Right. If those are the things that give deeds their real density, their thought, how does that perspective change how you look at your everyday actions? What truly holds value? What are you doing that feels heavy but might actually be weightless on that scale? And what small things done with pure intention might actually weigh more than mountains?
Yeah, that's definitely something to mull over. What carries true weight? Powerful stuff. Well, until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.